How long you been there for?
I've been at Tallulah for 2 years, but I caught a case at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles, Louisiana, 6 years ago in March.
So you've been locked up for six though.
Yeah, I've been locked up for 6 years.
How much of it was in the county?
How much what?
How long did you have to do like in the county?
Actually, here in Louisiana, I'm from Houston, Texas, but here in Louisiana, they don't have counties. They call each facility, each, like, what we would normally call counties, they call it parishes. So it was a parish jail I was located in. I was there for 4 years before I took my time.
Okay.
I was planning on going to trial. I'll be very honest with you. I was planning on going to trial for 4 years. They kept setting me back. Whenever the day of trial came, the judge told me that this was the last time they were going to put the deal on the table, that he believed that I had information to give him that would help, their case against others that were involved in the case. They felt like maybe we're more responsible, and I was just, a part of, the activity. That if I was to, give up the information, agree to truthfully testify, they'd be able to arrest others that were involved in the case. And I took the 25 years because the judge told me that if I didn't help them and I went to trial, that if I was found guilty on any charge, that they would give me a life. And they gave me something called an unfiltered plea that I can always appeal. And the deal was made between the state of Louisiana, the state of Texas, and the feds, that if I took the 25, they wouldn't prosecute me. So the judge was like, he offered me a 2-year reconsideration deal, which 2 years after me taking my time will be this year in March. So I will be going up for a reconsideration of sentence, and hopefully they're going to knock off a big bite of this time, because the 25 was like that agreement with the feds in the state of Texas not to prosecute me, and we were trying to get them out of the way a little bit so he can reconsider my sentence and help me get home faster.
You was arrested in New Orleans though? I'm not New Orleans,
No,
but Louisiana.
I was arrested in the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is real close to Texas, the Texas border.
So why was they getting Texas involved?
Why was in Texas was involved? Because the case was basically they knew that me and the person that was considered the victim was escorting in the state of Texas and the state of Louisiana. So, and usually with a case like that, they consider feds. I really didn't know the girl. I knew her for about like 5 days. So, and we didn't get caught in the act. I was caught because the girl was underage and she used a fake ID, which may have been one of her cousins or something, to get into the casino. And after I took my time, they had multiple other cases where other adult victims were actually considered a victim and thrown out. And the guy that was the pimp in the situation was, hold on one second, somebody's trying to get in the closet.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's all good.
Our closet door locked, so nobody else can get in here. So, okay, as I was saying, the girl had probably 6 other adults on separate months, separate cases within that year that were arrested for trafficking her, because she basically was looking for, other people to help her make her money, because she really had it was a little small drug problem that I think she was trying to, and she was running away and stuff. Nobody knew. If you would look at her, you would have been thinking she was, like 20, 23 is the age she said she was, because she was very developed for her age, which my lawyer had said was going to be very good, because the only statement that she was able to make that was really in my defense was that she was saying that I admitted I lied about my age. No one knew how old I was, and Amber Manning never took any of my money. So, they were, and all that they know was before I even knew the girl was underage, I admitted, I was like, yeah, we had escorted prior, but, we weren't even doing that night because it was supposed to be a birthday. We were out celebrating. So the only time they had, like, evidence, it was an ad that was posted, like, the night that I met her, which was, like, in December, and I seen her like 2 days in December. I seen her maybe like 1 day in January, and then March is the time I got arrested. It was like the 3rd time I ever saw the girl.
So how old was she?
I really don't want to talk about that because certain things that I can't say about my case that isn't on the news because they want to keep the minors, what would you call that? Like private. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Like I can't disclose information about like her name or her age at the time, but I can tell you now she is 21 now. So. Oh. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll tell you she's an adult now.
So what did they charge you with?
They charged me with human trafficking involving a juvenile. They charged me with promotion of prostitution, enticing prostitution, and pornography involving a juvenile. And that was based on a probably 3-second Snapchat video with, like, it was just like, wasn't even any like nudity for it to be child pornography, but it was like her doing some twerking with some older girls that were also working underneath the same pimp, and they were twerking, and she was in the video twerking with her bra and her underwear on, so that's considered child pornography.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So the pimp
never arrested.
Dang. So you was just working for him?
To make a long story short, I was being an idiot.
Was you in charge of the girls?
No, I wasn't in charge of anything. Every girl posted their own ads. They all put their own ads in the phone. I wouldn't say I was 100% down with him, but I was giving him money. Yeah.
You was giving him 100%?
I was just as stupid as any other girl that was working with him. He finessed our mind and made me think, that he loved me, and I thought, I loved him too. So I thought I was kind of like in a relationship with him, and I was just making money, and because I was making money, I was popping him off because he was my man. That's the way I looked at the situation. So whenever I was arrested and the federal agents and everything was trying to question me, I was covering, so well because I was just like, I didn't even believe myself that I was being human trafficked. Like, it took like a couple of years for me to get my mind right and realize that I'm selling pussy I'm selling myself, I'm giving, basically, and, I'm turning, tricks, and I'm giving my money to this man, even though it's not all of it, it's a big lump sum of it. I put them on my savings and checking account, so every time I made a deposit, he could swipe a card and spend anything he wanted of mine, so I was being really stupid. I was at a low point in my life. I had just recently got a divorce and got back into a lifestyle that I had left long before I ever had children. I was just so lonely, like I didn't have nothing to do, and I went to college and stuff, but it was like a couple of my girlfriends who didn't have nothing to do either. They were still involved in making money, and you make a lot of money like that. Like I was probably making anywhere to $10,000 to $15,000 a week.
God damn, for real?
Yeah.
So how much? Like, so what's the percentage you think he got?
Most of the girls, he got all of their money, or some of them he would get half. But I was more like, I don't know, I was kind of more harder to bargain with. So I basically just gave him access to my checking, and like my savings account was like not the money that I was put up to save for myself. That was a whole nother bank account. And I just gave him access to that, and he was able to take all the money he wanted and spend whatever he wanted. So mine was kind of like, I don't know, I could not have my own money because my expertise in that type of line of work was I play baccarat and I shoot craps. So I shoot at getting high rollers, and I may be sitting down next to a man, and in the middle of my hand is $1,000. So I sit there and I collect their chips all night. They don't want me to get up, so they sponsor my gambling, and I could probably leave sometimes, maybe winning $5,000 that night, you know what I'm saying? But throughout the week, I'm putting it back in the casino because whenever I deal with these baccarat players, they like to take us out to eat and splurge and buy us expensive gifts because they usually have like a millionaires club in the casino. It's usually the game where all the Asian men are sitting around, and it's really one of the best odds of winning at the casino. So I kind of like to sit around there and just get pampered. But these men are not like the type of tricks you would have found on the old back page or Skip the Games website. They're not expecting anything out of me. They just want a pretty girl to sit next to them and, give their chips. If it does become me doing anything sexual. Usually with the men, I would probably have established a relationship, and they would probably have been sponsoring my gambling for months before they even come at me and ask me. I don't, solicit myself as a prostitute out there. I'm a lady first. So the men are just, giving me money, and I'm not just like, hey, I'm charging X amount of dollars for sex. Yeah.
So that dude,
okay, go ahead.
So that dude, that pimp, how many females do you think he had?
Probably at the time of my arrest, ones that I knew about. I know that he had 2 in Houston that always were in the strip club. I never met them. And he had, 1, 2, 3, 4 in Beaumont, Texas. And so I really just kind of I made my money and I messed with him. I usually didn't go around his other girls because they all had their own vehicles. They all made their own money. This one girl in particular, obviously she didn't have her own vehicle, so he was always trying to bug us to go get the girl. But I wasn't interested in that. Most of the time I would just give him the runaround. But, sometimes they would just be like, she would be calling or texting and wanting to see. And for me having posting an ad under my phone number prior to, whenever I first met her and stuff, she was gorgeous. And so she used to get a lot of calls. And so he would see these people texting my phone because he would actually be texting off my phone when I'd be sleeping, because I would be sleeping around him. And he'd be like, go get her. And most of the time she was with another pimp at the time, getting them in trouble too. So I didn't really get her because she would never be ready, and then it'd be like she'd be ready and I'd be way in another state somewhere making money, so I wouldn't be on the same page.
So how did you first start? How old was you when you first started?
Okay, when I turned 18, my best friend, we called a public intoxication, and we ended up in the city jail off of McCall Street in Harris County. And when we caught the public intoxication, my car had got impounded. We're in a mall parking lot. She was boosting, and I got high and sat down in the parking lot. I was so intoxicated. I just sat down in the middle of the parking lot. The news was there. It took 6 police. I told them I refused to go to the ambulance, and I tried to walk to go to the mall, and I sat down in the middle of the parking lot, and that's how the police got called. So we met this girl. Her name was Paris. God rest her soul. She did get killed prostituting probably about 5 or 6 years later. But we met her in Harris County, and she was telling us how it worked. If we had a public intoxication, we'd get out in the morning, and I was like, well, my car has been impounded, and I don't want to call my parents. So she offered us a ride to go get the car. At that point, I realized I couldn't get the car. I called my family as we all ate breakfast, and we didn't even know that this dude was the pimp or not. So the pimp easily convinced my friend to start making money. Well, this was in November. And my friend, her sister was pregnant at the time. She was like, do not leave my sister's sight. Anything can happen to her. She could die, anything. So from November all the way to All-Star Weekend in February, I, was around it, watching these girls make all this money, just thinking that me having myself on a high horse is like, I'm too good. No way in hell. I haven't even had sex with that many men. There's no way I'm going to sell my body. My family takes good care of me. I'm going to college. I'm not getting into that. Well, All-Star Weekend in Atlanta, we were having a hotel at the Hilton on Peachtree Street. I seen ballers, pimps, and hoes everywhere. It took a few drinks and the right man that I probably would have had sex with for free that night to offer me some money, and that's whenever I actually got turned out. As soon as I got turned out, the pimp wanted to throw me on the track in a mini skirt and a little bitty mink coat, some 6-inch heels, and it was freezing cold in Atlanta, I remember. Oh, and then it was like I cried after that. I didn't know what I had gotten myself into. Then he brought me to the Masonic Lodge the next day in Atlanta, and by then I was learning everything. So I started from the bottom before I got to the level that I was on. It was 20 years ago, so street corners, there was pimps and hoes everywhere. People thought it was the thing to do at that time, and that were in the game, but now I look at that like, oh my God, the bottom of the barrel, once I learned how to mess with the high rollers and tricks that pay way more than these tricks that you're gonna meet on the corner. It's not real money.
So when you met, the pimp dude, you went to Atlanta with him?
This isn't the pimp that had the underage girl. This is a pimp that was actually from New York. He was probably about 35, and I was 19 at the time. So he's older. Before I came to jail, I still communicated with him. He had about 12 hoes at the time. He had real hoes, and he was really into the pimping. He was from Brooklyn. He was like half Vietnamese, half black, and he really like he was a Mason too, so he really had his game together. There was no room for failure when it come to what he was teaching us. You know, it was like he taught us how to succeed and get a lot of money. Like we had a quota, $1,000 a night. Even being on the streets walking, that was our quota at the time. Like you had to make your quota. And me being a white girl, I was expected to make more. You know, even though I was like the only white girl at first out of all the black girls. And when another white girl came around, finally we actually picked her up in Atlanta on another trip. We were in Cali working the track, and I got her to leave with me. Yeah, I was like, no, we can't do this no more. We're not giving away our money.
Wait, so look, because I'm trying to get to the very beginning. So look, you knew he was a pimp when y'all went to the Atlanta thing.
Yeah, by then I knew he was a pimp. Yes, it was like 12, 13 girls went out there.
Okay, so
there was another pimp with buku girls in the Escalade in front of us. It was like 2 Escalades full of hoes.
So when somebody approached you, what did they say? They just initially offered you money, or what? How did that go?
Oh, and All-Star Weekend in Atlanta, there's so many pimps and so many hoes. You got to stay on your toes because you were running in your stilettos because pimps chase you and you can't get out of pocket. So you know the difference between the pimps, because most of the pimps were, at that weekend, they try to show off their wealth. So they got these pimp cups in their hand. They got all these diamonds on. Matter of fact, Snoop Dogg was there. I don't know if it was for show or what, but it had buku hoes around him, like his entourage. I seen like a lot of the known pimps, you know, like the ones you see on TV, Don Juan, Magic Juan. It was like a lot of known pimps. We went to a players ball, and that was like where all the real pimps and hoes they consider in the circle. And the pimp that turned me out, he was considered one of the pimps in the circle. I've only messed with 3 pimps ever in my life, because I messed with him, I learned the game, I ran with it, which most girls do, and I didn't really mess with the pimp again. And like when I left him, I messed with one other pimp, because the pimp has to get served. Like in order for that pimp to leave you alone, if he sees you, you're like an out-of-pocket hoe. Once he's served by another pimp, that means you don't belong to him no more. You belong to the next pimp. So I had to find somebody to serve him, so I would be free and clear. And I just used the man to serve him, and then I ran for him because I knew he was like a nobody.
All right, so look, after your first one, right, and then you felt uncomfortable. How long did it take for you to do like a second date, and how was you convinced to stay with this dude, and how long did you stay with him for until?
Okay, I was trying to stay with him until I could convince my best friend to leave. I realized that she was falling in love with him. She had a big crush on him, and she was going to do anything that he wanted her to do. So it was like no way in hell that she was going to leave him. So I took the white bitch and I was gone. And I convinced her, because she was new to the game, that if she came with me, you know, I had a car and stuff, I'd get my car back whenever we go to Texas, and she could make money with me. And I kind of like put her under my wing, and she wanted me to keep all her money. So it kind of like, she wasn't like my girlfriend, because I really don't like white girls, and she really wasn't my style. But, you know, she wanted me to be her. Gotta love Ty.
Hey, so look, from your first, we was talking about your first encounter, right? To your second encounter, how long did it take?
Okay, my first encounter was actually, I would consider that like the first night, which my first encounter was at one of them hotels on Peachtree Street when it was All-Star Weekend. And my second encounter after that night wasn't until about 2 weeks later, because I was like really shook up.
All right, so go slow.
First I hit a lick. Okay, I'm gonna tell you. First I hit a lick. This fine dude I would have fucked for free for $1,700. Then I got dropped off on the track. Yeah, where I had to learn how to be a real hoe. You know, you got to start from the bottom and work your way to the top. That's what they say.
No, so stop at the 1,700 right there. So okay, so look, so he came up to you. You weren't looking at doing anything. How did he approach you?
Okay. An All-Star Weekend, there's just hoes everywhere, and ballers is what we call them. and they're trying to buy pussy left and right. And they, I was with a group of girls who was selling pussy, so they were begging me and begging me and begging me and begging me. Come on, they wanted the white girl. A lot of the ones wanted the white girl, but I was like, I don't do that. I'm just here, with my friends. I don't do that. So I kept saying, I don't do it. I don't do it. I don't do it. So the guys were probably paying the girls anywhere between $300 to $500. So this guy was like, I'll give you everything in my pocket, and he pulled out like $1,700. He had been messing with me the whole couple hours we were in there, a little sweet. So I was like, fuck, fine, I guess so, because I thought he was cute and I probably would have had sex with him for free. So then after that, I got dropped off on the track and
wait. So hold on.
I cried.
So hold on.
Okay.
After the 1,700, was that all yours? Because you wasn't you wasn't a prostitute.
No, I thought it was all mine. He gave it all to me for me to get in the car with the pimp, and the pimp that tell me to just hand it all over. Yeah.
Wait, do that again. Wait. So,
I was out of town with the pimp who had 12 hoes, and his bottom bitch called and was like, Amber finally turned a trick. She's, she's selling pussy now with us. So part of me being there with him made me obligated to, I was under a pimp, I'm under his instruction now. So I had to give him all that money, and then he dropped me off. He didn't even let me take my cell phone with me.
Wait.
He dropped me off with his phone number right across my hand.
Wait, so the whole 1,700 went to him?
All 1,700 went to the pimp. Every last dime went to that pimp until I was smart enough and I started saving money, holding money back from him, and putting up money because I knew I was about to leave because I didn't want. And I would tell him, he knew I didn't want to give him my money. He knew I was paying for the game and I was gonna leave. Yeah, because I told him months prior to me ever doing it, I was like, man, I don't want to be a hoe like them and giving all my money to you. I want to be like you. You know what I'm saying? I want to have all the hoes.
So, but look though. So from the first time to the second time was two weeks, right? So, what made you do it again?
What made me do it again was because of the money. I realized that it was a lot more easier than boosting clothes and selling drugs, and I realized that I had an ATM machine in between my legs, and I just could spread them and get paid. I don't know. I was watching these girls for so long make all this money, and I was just like, and the pimp kept like, he would stash the money in the vents and stuff at his house, and we'd go to his house, and he would pull out envelopes and be like, this is all the money this girl's made, this month or whatever. And he would make me count like all kind of money, like counting hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it was just like, that was once I had turned my first trick. And that made me like so big at it at 19. I was like, then he brainwashed me to make me think that, and I was actually really brainwashed like this. I went to college and still felt like the only way, a hoe could make more money than that millionaire who's, out here making $1 million in the oil industry, because I could have 3 of them millionaires and I could be, having all their money, access to all their money, and another millionaire here, there, and there. So my mind was kind of brainwashed that I could make more money than a doctor, a lawyer, anything, because men are going to want what I have in between my legs. And if I have the right mouthpiece, I can talk them out of anything.
Okay, so look though. Okay, after the second time. So how did the second one time happen? It was on the street, or what was it?
Yeah. Okay. So as soon as he found out I hit a lick, he came in his Lexus, picked me up, and was like dropping me and his bottom bitch and one of his other hoes that had been with him for a few years down on a track. I can't remember exactly the name of the street, but it was actually what they were known as like a blade out there in Atlanta. And the girl didn't really tell me that. Then she was like, she kind of schooled me a little bit. She was like, the hourly room's down there. They got a hotel right there. If you can get a room for the rest of the night, good, so you can try your tricks out of it. This is how we work, make him pull his dick out, ask him if he's the police, and, see how much money he's got. She gave me a ballpark figure of what, the prices were, on the streets. Don't go lower than this, higher than that. And so I got in there. It was another youngster that came and picked me up. He was probably like maybe 26. He was cute, black dude. And I called them crying afterwards because I was like, I never had done that unless it was my boyfriend, and I didn't really like to suck dick. So they didn't tell me, okay, this was like my first and only and last mistake. They didn't tell me, you put a condom on him to suck a dick. They didn't give me all the game, like the rules that I should have known since I've been around them. So I get in there with this youngster smoking weed. He's riding around with me for about 2 hours, and then pays me $75 to give him some oral sex. So I remember I gave him cigarettes, and I didn't want him to come in my mouth, but he was pushing my head down. I got out the car crying. I called them. I was like, I'm never doing this again. He made me swallow his cum. They were like, what? You're supposed to wear a condom? How dumb. So, yeah, that's why I didn't want to do it again. And it took me a couple weeks. I was riding Westheimer, with the girl, one of the bottom bitches, and, she got me into getting back out there and doing it again at the strip club.
So what were you, okay. So when you...
Hold on, let me go for her again. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, I'm very sorry.
Hey, so what was the rules and what's the prices?
Okay, well, the rules were basically, if you don't understand them, they don't understand English, don't get in the car with them because I was not bilingual. And, whenever you get in the car, check the glove box, kind of pat the guy down, make sure you don't see no guns or no badges, you know what I'm saying? Don't get in the car with anybody that seems intoxicated. If their breath, make the guy pull out his dick, ask him, is he a police officer? Is he affiliated with any law enforcement agency in that state, which was Atlanta, was Georgia, and in the state of Georgia. And then go to one of them hourly rooms or go to a nearby parking lot and do a car date. Then as soon as you get done with the date, call and let them know, that you're okay, you did it. Before, when you jump into the car, before you get into the car, text the license plate number of the vehicle. That's what we would do. Yeah, so if you're going to get in the car, be like, hold on, I want to walk around to your side. If you're not around the side or you're walking around the other side, you stop. Like, hold on one second, my friend is calling me, let me let her know I'm okay. And you text the license plate number. That way, if it is the correct license plate, because most serial killers aren't going to use a car that's, validated. That way it kind of like is a buddy system. But as I got into the game, I wouldn't get in a car without another girl with me. I didn't even turn unless it was like a regular client and I was doing something out on the streets, I wouldn't do anything on the streets without another girl with me. Because if you're trying to kill one of us, it'd be hard for you to kill us both at the same time and shot us or something. I don't know.
So
everyone can get away or, yeah.
So you had someone do something? Like, what was the most dangerous thing that happened when you was in the car?
Well, okay. There's a lot of dangerous things that happened in the car. I was stabbed one time. Then one time there was this guy, he came and picked me up, he dated me, and I had been making money all night long. Like, we used to cut our bras like your Victoria's Secret, like a slit on the in between the liner and the padding, and we put all of our money like in our bras. Black girls sometimes use under their wig caps. And I've been making money all night long. I probably had over $2,000 on me. And the black dude cocked his, he had like a 40 cal, and he was going so fast. He just started speeding on the side of the Beltway in Houston, and he cocked his gun. He put it to my head. He said, you can either give me all that money in your titty, or you can jump out the car. Because I have money, or you can jump out right now. Or if you don't, you know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, he put a gun in my head. So I was like, okay. He was like, if you give me all your money, I'll stop, and then you can get out. Yeah. So I was like, I handed him all the money on one side real quick, and he stopped the car, and I jumped the fuck out. I didn't get both titties, so he didn't get all my money, so that was dangerous. I had a guy one time pick me up, take me to an hourly room. He brought this bag inside with me, which had like a fur coat. It was like a rabbit coat in it, and it said, Loretta Young, I will never forget. And it looked like it had blood all on the inside. So at the time when I went back home to the pimp with it, we Googled the name, and the man we think possibly got picked up by an ice pick killer, but I fought so hard that hopefully the time had ran out in the room, and it probably saved my life, because the man told me he had scalpels and all kind of stuff. After I put on the jacket, he wanted me to smoke a cigarette, and I didn't really notice. I knew it had stains in the jacket, so I ended up leaving butt naked with this jacket on. And I thought he just wanted me to role play. So as soon as I fired up the cigarette, I went like this. He put his hand over my mouth like this and was trying to smother me by my hand and my nose. At that time, I bit the fuck out of his hand, so his blood was seeping in my mouth, basically, And he tried to I ran into the hotel bathroom door and closed it. He finally broke into that, and we scuffled. I did what the pimp had told me to do. If a trick ever tries to start fighting you, try, if you can, to rip the curtains off the hotel, open the window, scream, make a lot of noise. So I was screaming, making a lot of noise. So eventually the hotel man came up after the man had made me suck his dick and was trying to burn me with the cigarette all on my foot and stuff. Yeah, it was little scars on the bottom of my foot. Yeah. So, the thing he opened was like a black like kit, you know what I'm saying? It had like all different kinds of knives on it. Like it looked like a doctor's kit, but whenever we Googled it, it was like the girl's name had popped up, and they believe she was like she was murdered, cut into pieces, and left like laying in the woods somewhere. And then there was another girl. Her name was Dominique. I don't know her last name. She was actually cut up, and we think it was possibly by the same guy, left into the woods. In Houston, it took many years before they found her body.
Damn, so it'd be a lot of dangerous motherfuckers out there, huh?
Hell yeah. I've came close to death and miniguns pulled on me lots of times. See, the way I was taught was if somebody pulls a gun on you, just perform your best and consider it just giving up some free pussy. Just give them what they want so you can make it through it. And I've had a friend that pulled a gun on a trick. The gun took the trick and blew her brains out right in front of me. Yeah.
You was there?
I was probably about 22 years old. And then one of my friends, she was strangled by a trick. She's on the news as well. Her name is Michelle Suzanne Smichael. We called her Zoe. We actually had the same tattoo. When she got out of jail, she got the same tattoo as me. And one of my other best friends at the time, she was killed when I was probably about 24 years old. She was strangled by a trick in Dallas. And you can look that up. It says a stranger forced the man with a gun up 3 flights of stairs and made him dispose of the body, which one of the ex-pimps that I knew, which was a guy that was kind of like my boyfriend at one point in time, went to go pick her up, and I really believe that he probably killed her, but, you know, and then I was actually contacted on MySpace, that's how long ago this was, by the girl who, it was like her husband or her baby daddy who supposedly killed the girl, and she also said that a black man forced him up flight, that he was calling for an escort for them to see, and he had been high all night blowing up her phone. But when they got there, the guy, like, she couldn't find the apartment. She said that he came downstairs and the guy strangled her in front of him and made him take the body upstairs and dispose of it in her utility closet. So that's what her story was, and kind of what the news said, but she said because he was an illegal immigrant, he took the plea deal of 10 years. That's what his lawyer suggested he did. So the other guy may have got away with murder.
Damn, you could do a lot of shit. So how many?
I've been doing a lot.
So how many? Like, what places do you travel to? Like, what places you ever travel to?
I frequently traveled like to the California area. You know, we would always travel there by road trip so we could hit up Arizona. This was basically whenever I was younger, and they had a lot of nice places to make money out there. California, LA, Orange County, Beverly Hills, Vegas, Atlanta, Georgia, Pensacola, Florida, Miami, Houston, Dallas, New York, and I pretty much I haven't been to Chicago, but one time, and I've been to St. Louis before too.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, we got 30 seconds. Sheesh. You did the thing. I appreciate it. Sheesh. You had a life. So whatever y'all want to do next, just let me know.
Listen, I just want to say one last thing to everybody who's viewing this. I don't want it to seem like it's fame or fortune, because I did catch 25 years behind, you know, trying to chase money in the game, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. And good luck, y'all. Bye.
Bye. Hey, text me.